For the Maya, time was born and had a name when the sky didn't exist and the earth had not yet awakened. The days set out from the east and started walking. The first day produced from its entrails the sky and the earth. The second day made the stairway for the rain to run down. The cycles of the sea and the land and the multitude of things were the work of the third day. The fourth day willed the earth and the sky to tilt so that they could meet. The fifth day decided that everyone had to work. The first light emanated from the sixth day. In places where there was nothing, the seventh day put soil. The eighth plunged its hands and feet in the soil. The ninth day created the netherworlds. The 10th earmarked for them those who had poison in their souls. Inside the sun, the 11th day modeled stone and tree. It was the 12th that made the wind. Wind blew, and it was called Spirit, because there was no death in it. The 13th day moistened the earth and kneaded the mud into a body like ours. Thus it is remembered in Yucatan. The Guaros, who live in the suburbs of earthly paradise, call the rainbow snake of necklaces, and the firmament overhead sea. Lightning is glow of the rain. One's friend, my other heart. The soul, sun of the breast. The owl, lord of the dark night. A walking cane is a permanent grandson. And for I forgive, they say, I forget. The first father of the Guaranis rose in darkness lit by reflections from his own heart and created flames in thin mist. He created love and had nobody to give it to. He created language and had no one to listen to him. Then he recommended to the gods that they should construct the world and take charge of fire, mist, rain, and wind. And he turned over to them the music and words of the sacred hymn so that they would give life to women and to men. So love became communion, language took on life, and the first father redeemed his solitude. Now he accompanies men and women who sing as they go. We're walking this earth. We're walking this shining earth. A 1,000 men sweep the path of the Inca into the great square where the Spaniards wait in hiding. The multitude trembles at the passage of the beloved father, the one, the only, lord of labors and fiestas. The singers fall silent, and the dancers freeze up. In the half-light, last light of the day, the crowns and vestments of Atahualpa and his cortege of nobles of the realm gleam with gold and silver. Where are the gods brought by the wind? The Inca reaches the center of the square and gives the order to wait. A few days ago, a spy penetrated the camp of the invaders, tugged at their beards, and returned to report that they were no more than a handful of crooks from the sea. That blasphemy cost his life. Where are the sons of Huirachaca, who wear stars on their heels and send forth thunders that provoke stupor, stampede, and death? The priest Vicente de Valverde emerges from the shadows and goes to meet Atahualpa. He raises the Bible in one hand and a crucifix in the other, as if exorcising a storm on the high seas, and cries that here is God, the true one, and that all the rest is nonsense. The interpreter translates, and Atahualpa, at the head of the throng, asks, "Who told you that?" "The Bible says it. The sacred book. Give it here so it can tell me." A few paces away, Pizarro unsheathes his sword. Atahualpa looks at the Bible, turns it over in his hand, shakes it to make it talk, and presses it against his ear. It says nothing. It's empty. And he drops it to the ground. Pizarro has been awaiting this moment ever since the day he knelt before Emperor Charles V, described the empire as big as Europe that he had discovered and proposed to conquer, and promised him the most splendid treasure in human history. And even earlier, since the day when his sword drew a line in the sand and a few soldiers, dying of hunger, bent with disease, swore to follow him to the end. And earlier yet, much earlier, Pizarro has awaited this moment since he was dumped at the door of an Extremadura church 54 years ago and drank sow's milk for lack of anyone to suckle him. Pizarro yells and pounces. At the signal, the trap is sprung. From the ambush, trumpets blare, arquebuses roar, and the cavalry charges the stunned and unarmed crowd. The Crown has suspended the most important new laws, which set the Indians free. While they lasted, barely 3 years, who observed them? In reality, even Indians marked free on the arm in vivid red continued to be slaves. For this they have told me I was right? Fray Bartolome feels abandoned by God, a leaf without a branch, alone and a nobody. They said yes to me so that nothing would change. Now, not even paper will protect those who have no more shield than their bowels. Did the monarchs receive the new world from the Pope for this? Is God a mere pretext? This hangman's shadow, does it come from my body? Wrapped in a blanket, he writes a letter to Prince Philip. He announces that he will visit Valladolid without waiting for a reply or permission. Then Fray Bartolome kneels on the mat, facing the night, and recites aloud a prayer invented by himself. Hear me, from the sea up there where thou livest, from the sea down here where thou art. Creator of the world, potter of man, Lord of lords, to thee, with my eyes that despair to see thee, or just for yearning to know thee, if I see thee, know thee, ponder thee, understand thee, thou wilt see me, and know me. The sun, the moon, the day, the night, the summer, the winter, they don't walk idly, but in good order, to the appointed place and to a good end. Everywhere thou carriest with thee thy royal scepter. Hear me. Listen to me. Let me not tire out. Let me not die.